Now let's move to some examples in illustrating the principle of inclusion and exclusion. But this time, the elements or even the sets are not yet, what do you call this one, detailed. Unlike the previous examples where we are given with the actual number of students who are actually taking French, German, and Russian classes, this time, we are to identify it first. So we have here, set S be the set containing the natural numbers 1, 2, until 500. Find the number of integers in S which are divisible by 2, 3, or 5. This means that we are looking into the number of integers that are under the union of all these three sets. Let's say D sub 2 for were numbers divisible by 2. So we have here D sub 3 for numbers divisible by 3 and D sub 5 numbers divisible by 5. I'm just going to use this notation so that we might connect it to our understanding. And take note that for our set S, its cardinality is just equal to 500 integers, considering the natural numbers 1, 2 until 500. So how many are these 500 integers are divisible by 2, by 3, or by 5? So first, let's look into the idea of each set, because our item or formula for the principle of inclusion and exclusion talks about the union of these, okay, which has a formula of just the cardinality of the D sub 2 plus the cardinality of D sub 3 plus the cardinality of D sub 5, then minus, we're going to take the intersection of, sorry, let's start with D sub 2, the intersection of D sub 2 and D sub 3, then less the intersection of D sub 2 again and D sub 5, and then less the intersection of D sub 3 and D sub 5. Then we add all the intersection of all D sub 2, D sub 3, and D sub 5. Again, the reason for adding is again discussed in the illustration of the formula. At the same time, the understanding that some of them are removed once we remove all of these pairs of intersections. Now, we don't know yet how many elements are there in D sub 2, which we will add it here. Even D sub 3 and D sub 5. And even the numbers or the cardinality for each here. Because again, unlike the previous examples where we are clarified or given with the actual values, simply plug in here in the formula and that's okay already. This time we still need to predict or guess the number of integers divisible by 2 for, between 1 to 500. Basically, divisible by 2 are all even numbers, right? So how many even numbers are there from 1 to 500? So even numbers, divide it into 2, you will get 250. That's for our D sub 2, 250. But when we go to D sub 3, okay, we go to D sub 3, we will get 500. We don't know yet, because if we're going to pattern in 3, 6, 9, 12, we don't know yet the actual number, but we can actually look for a formula intended for this. What if this 250 is actually 500 divided by 2, where 2 is the integer we're looking for as a factor, or what they call this one, the divisor. That's why we get here 250. So for divisible by 3, we simply divide it as well. However, when we divide 500 by 3, we will get in what do you call this one, non-integral answer, because 500 divided by 3 is actually 166.6666, so on until so on and so forth. So we don't know yet the actual value, but we are looking here for the count, how many numbers of integers. We can answer in notations in decimal or even fractions form. So what we can do here is simply take the floor. This floor is a notation which identifies us to round down. This is even true here. Even if it's exact 250, that's a formula. So when we have 500 divided by 3 and we round it down, why rounding it down? Why we get the floor? Because if there exists decimal notation, that determines that there are remainders. When we divide a certain number, so 500 divided by 3, we have remainder 2. Definitely, it did not reach 3 we having remainder 0 to get another one. So it's important for us to look into the previous integer because you cannot move forward to the next one. That's why we have here 166 instead of 166.67. Then for our d sub 5, so you have here 500 divided by 5. Even if it's exact, let's just simply use the floor. We'll get it 100. So basically, we are done with this 3. The next one here is the intersection of d sub 2 and d sub 3. When you talk about the intersection of d sub 2 and d sub 3, okay, this tells us, by the way, before I forgot, these are all cardinality. Okay, that's why I also need to place cardinality here. When I talk about the numbers which are both, because this is AND in terms of its verbal phrase, we talk about numbers divisible by 2 and divisible by 3. It's actually telling us that these are the numbers that can be divided by 3 and 2 at the same time. What is the smallest number, smallest integer that can be divided by 2 and 3 at the same time? It's actually 6. So if we talk about the number of integers divisible by 2 and 3, we're just looking for the number of integers divisible by 6. Because 6 comprises 2 and 3 as factors. So with that, 500 divided by 6, again, let's use the floor, we will actually get a number of 83.3333, or simply using the floor, you will get here 83. Similarly, when we talk about the number of integers divisible by 2 and 5, so it's actually divisible by 10. Because these are the numbers that will divide, or a factor of with 2 and 5 that should be together when in terms of divisibility. So you have here 500, again floor of 10, you will get here 50. Moving forward to divisibility of 3 and 5, how many integers are there? So we have here the cardinality rather of d sub 15, which gives us a result of 500 divided by 13. So you can try it in your calculators. You will have a result of 33 point something. So this is actually again 500, 15. So divide by 15, my bad. By 15, okay, and the floor of that is 33.333. So these are the items we'll be subtracting in these portions here, and already done with this. The last one would be the cardinality for the intersection of all. So using the same concept of the intersections as previously discussed a while ago, so we are going to get here the cardinality of d sub 30, because that's 2 times 3 times 5. It's the smallest integer that is divisible by 2, 3, and 5 at the same time. So 500 divided by 30, you will get a result of floor 16. Now that we are done with all of this, let's return to the formula at hand. So the formula, we have here the union, or the number of integers less than 500. By the way, that's the reason why we also have 500 here, and so on and so forth. That are divisible by 2 or 3, sorry, that's a union, or 5, is equal to the cardinality of the number of integers divisible by 2 plus the number of integers divisible by 3 plus the number of integers divisible by 5, then less the number of integers divisible by 2 intersection with divisibility by 3, or again divisibility or divisible by 6. This one here divisible by 10 minus divisible by 15, and plus a divisibility that will capture all 3, in short, the number of integers divisible by 30. So plug in all of this, you will have 250, 166, 100, 250 plus 166 plus 100, then minus 83, 50, 33, and you have here plus 16. This would tell us the number of integers less than 500 rather, that is divisible by 2 or 3 or 5. So you have 250 minus plus 166 plus 100 minus 83 minus 50 minus 33 and plus 16. You will have a result of 366 integers all in all. This is the answer to the question of how many integers are there. So this will be true for similar situations unless the number of integers here are differently defined for our set S, and if there are concerns with regards to this, like not 2 but of 3, or 5 but not of 2 and 3, and so on and so forth. So this is one of the examples for the principle of inclusion and exclusion. Thank you very much for watching.